Hey, we're live. I see us.
Hey, there you go.
Hey, you can hear me now? There we go. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Outside the Fence, brought to you by Pit Talk TV. We're live from South Beloit, Illinois, at the race shop, the speed shop of DJ Smith, as you see in the background, under the tarps. What number are we this year?
80.
80 again. Late model at the Rockford Speedway, the NASCAR late model, in his shop. You know, we started this, Outside the Fence has been going on for 2 or 3 years now. And during the quarantine last year, we put together the quarantine special. That's how I got in the hot seat, just to give everybody updates on where we're at and as we proceeded into the racing season last year. And as we all know, fortunately, we were able to get going at the end of June after a crazy spring. Unfortunately, we're still in a crazy world as we live in, but looking forward, we're planning on a whole nother race season, 2021. The best part of that is we're all anxious again. I love this part of the time of the year because the cars are starting to get built. Unfortunately, we don't have a racers auction scheduled for this winter yet. We do have one in Iowa, in Davenport, that was moved back. That is now in early March, looking forward, but giving you some updates and where we're at Rockford Speedway. Then we'll get to tonight's guest, Tyler Vincetich. Got it right once. I got his name right once. Yeah, that counts. Tyler, real quick on you. First year racing in the Sixers. Yeah. Then you jumped into the high school racers. What are you going to do next year?
It's still up in the air. It really depends on like budget and stuff. Like if I can get the budget, I'm going to try to move up to perhaps Roadrunners, but awesome. if the budget isn't there, then I'll probably just stay in Sixers and run another year or two in those.
All right. Well, we'll get back to you. There's a bunch more out of this kid. A great young guy. Got a bunch of stories from last season with him, and he's got a bunch of stories. People have been asking me about my mother, Jody Deary, the patriarch of the Rockford Speedway. Back in September, we moved her out of her house into a private an apartment, an assisted living apartment. She is doing great, healthy, goes down to the mess halls and meets all the people, mess hall or the dining room, meets all the people, talking to them all. Unfortunately, as we know, during the quarantine or this pandemic or whatever you want to call it, and at nursing homes, if she leaves to go to a doctor's visit, she comes back and has to go into a 14-day quarantine, essentially locked in her apartment. Very, I understand why they're doing it, but it's just very tough for an older person, just locked in your room. They bring you the food to the door, that type of stuff. But she wanted to express her wishes, to say hello to everybody. Thanks for their support last year, and especially on her night. We had a night where we said goodbye to her, or not goodbye, but we waved her off as she retired from Rockford Speedway. And but she wanted to say hi, make sure everybody knew that, and Happy New Year to everyone. Other rumors and the big news that the Speedway's been sold. Big news. Now, if I had $1 for every time I heard the Speedway was sold, I would be in Florida on a big yacht. But the Speedway has not been sold. I'll tell you that right now. We're planning on racing, obviously. The rule book's about complete, ready to come out for another 3 years. The bottom line there is, yes, the Speedway is a very attractive property where it's at, has a value. It probably shouldn't be where it's at. You know, they built around us. In the old days, Speedway was 7 miles north of Rockford. That's how it was advertised, where it was at. But as the pandemic and things have changed, we have explored options on selling some of our property to the west of the Speedway. We call it that quarry, the parking lot. Just exploring options. So that's where you're hearing the Speedway got sold and all that kind of stuff. Obviously, when my mother retired, that really kicked it into high gear. But that's really not what happened. We're just being a little bit more proactive and making things happen. So plan on next year, plan on the year after. Rockford Speedway's going to stay around forever. Well, not forever. I can't live that long. So other than that, we're going racing. But that's a lot of the big news. I brought up the rule book. We do a 3-year rule book. 2020 was the end of our 3-year rule book. We've met. Pretty much our late models are done. The Sportsmen are done. Sixers, Bandits. We're still working out some details on the Roadrunners and the short trackers. Just some of the highlights there. The Roadrunner class, we are now allowing the 602 crate motor to participate in that division. So we're trying to we're trying to dumb down the crate motor, essentially, make it a little easier for the open motor or the old Roadrunner current motor program to work hand in hand. So, and as you know, the short trackers, that's kind of out of control, and trying to reel that in and mix in the international mix to that. For years, we've let the international cars kind of do what they wanted to do to make them faster, because they were always slower than the short tracker division. And well, they've achieved that goal now. So now we're at that point in the crossroads, and it's easy to keep everything the same, but unfortunately, you just can't do that in racing, because things change, new things come out, and so forth. So a bunch of highlights there. If you got any questions, we can address those later on throughout the program. Let's get to Tyler. Where did you get inkling to start racing? I mean, you just sat in the stands, or watch it on TV, or played video games, or what was the lead?
It's a lot like family based, because my grandpa actually used to race at Rockford back in the early 70s in the Roadrunner division there. He only raced for like 2-3 years. And then when I was growing up, my parents, my uncle, and my grandpa, we always used to go to races, watch races, and especially at the Rockford Speedway. So I was inclined to just get into it as soon as I was able to.
So you just jumped right into the Sixers?
Actually,
or did you run go-karts or any other stuff?
My first actual race was a race. It was 2 years ago. It was at, I don't know if anyone's heard of the Tournament of Destruction up at Jefferson Speedway.
TOD.
I got a I was given a car. It was a junk Saturn, and I was just like, I'll fix it up to put it in there. I raced that, 2 races there, and then the next year I raced it again, and then the next year I was like, oh, they came up with a Sixers division because my friend Austin Fowler, he contacted me. He said, there's this division that I think you can join. So he helped me find a car. He helped advise me put the car together, and I built it throughout March, and I kind of just jumped into it.
Awesome, good deal. When you did the TOD, Tournament of Destruction, what'd you do there? I mean, what do they do, the bubble race and all those other kind of things?
They soak the entire track with bubbles, and basically it's just a bunch of it's kind of like a demolition derby, but not really because you want to survive. But yeah, they do backwards races, forwards races, bump and run, chain races.
Well, I did ask Tyler earlier if he had any nicknames. And he said, no, not really, Ty, Vinny. But I'm thinking Bubbles.
Bubbles?
Bubbles might be a good name for him. You know, he's a very bubbly personality, young. So, how old are you, actually?
I am 18. I turned 18 in September.
Okay. And you ran the Sixers at Rockford, ran the High School Racing Association, which was new this year, only for high school-aged kids. I guess you can call them that, especially at my age, you're a kid. But, so, did you plan on doing both? I mean, because HSRA we just introduced, and then we went through the shutdown, and it kind of lingered off into the back as the schedule, obviously, things changed last year during the shutdown and opening up. And then I think the first night of HSRA, we had 6 cars.
Yeah,
6 or 7.
Like 6 or 7.
But then the next week we had like 10 or 11.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, this is going to work. And obviously it did. And what do you think? What would you do different, I guess? Anything on HSRA or?
Nothing. It was put together well. It really helped like separate us from the adults. So like the kids could have like their own kind of show where it was racing against people your age. So I think it was pretty cool to be able to race against people just your age.
So you're able to gain experience.
Yeah.
So we were talking earlier about racing 8 or 10 cars versus 30.
Because you're basically put into a race with a bunch of people with your skill level. So it's like a lot more even that you're able to race against.
So going back to those first couple HSR races, I think you probably had the most experience. Maybe from TOD or whatever, or your car was set up best. So if I remember right, I think you won the first.
Yeah, I won the first feature.
First one, and then you held the point lead pretty much the whole summer.
Yeah.
Tell me what happened then.
So the second feature race, I got wrecked out in the beginning. My car got spun and I hit the wall and I was out for the race. So that kind of set me back in points. But I stayed consistent throughout like the heat races and finished higher up in the features. I didn't win another one, but I stayed higher up. But then the very last race, we found out that there's a 3-way tie for first place between me, Zach, and Doug. So that was pretty interesting.
That was going into the feature, or the whole night?
That was going the whole night.
Okay.
And then going into the feature, I think Zach was ahead by 3, and Doug was behind me by, I think, 4. So it was a little spread out, but still every point mattered.
And if I remember that race right, you got involved in a small wreck or something. The tire was like this, and you were trying to go straight. Was that the right race?
Yeah, that was the right race. So me and Zach we were racing neck and neck. I love racing against him because we're always just neck and neck together, no matter what race we're in. And I was catching up to him. I was right on this bumper, and I was going to make the last move. I think it was on the second to last lap or the last lap. I was going to make my last move on turn 3, but I turned, but my car kept going straight. No brakes, because I guess both my front tires popped, slammed straight into the front wall on turn 4, and then that's when my hood popped up.
Okay.
And I finished the race that way, but yeah, that was an interesting race and interesting way to end HSRA.
That is true. When I heard you were coming on as a guest, I'm thinking back and I'm going, boy, I remember so many. I thought it was a lot of times, but car comes in on the record, and I believe it's your grandfather, who's pretty much your crew chief.
Yeah.
And Boy, you guys, the car, pretty much these cars are disposable in the real world. The front ends just collapse. Everything's just not like a good old car it used to be. But then next race day, here comes the 25 pulling in and banged out and put back together. I mean, how much time did you guys spend on that car?
Oh, man. So probably like almost every single week, probably a good 30, 40 hours, depending on how bad it was mangled up in the previous race. Like, I don't know if you remember, but I was at every single practice session from you guys' first one to the last one, which helped with experience because I was able to get more wheel time. But also, like, every week I had a different car because we had to change something, fix something.
Did you crash at practice or blow a tire?
There's a couple times where I got loose and I hit my rear bumper a couple times in the back, but there's no like bad damage. The worst damage always came from races.
So, to speak, you're driving a front-wheel drive car. Have you ever raced in a rear-wheel drive car?
No, I have not.
Okay, so it's gonna be a whole other animal for you.
Yeah, I'm willing to put in the work and the effort to be able to make myself ready, even if it means sitting out a couple races at the beginning of the season and just keep practicing behind the wheel until I'm comfortable behind it. But I'm willing to put the work in for it.
Well, that's good news. So, motivation, yes. So the season's over. Then you entered. It was a 6-cylinder enduro, and going into turn number 1. What happened from there?
So near the end of the season, ever since the HSRA race, my car started to bog down. We didn't know what the problem was. We replaced a bunch of sensors, but it still wouldn't go above like a certain speed. But we were able to manage because sometimes it kicked back into speed. So going into the 6-cylinder enduro, I was just like, it's the last race. I'll probably sell the car next week. Yeah, I thought I was going to sell the car next week. But we raced, it was like 7 laps in. We were racing. I saw the leaders coming up, so I went to the high side because they were all going low. Also, next thing I know, this yellow car comes up next to me, and next thing I know, I open my eyes and I'm on my roof.
You open your eyes, you're on the roof.
Yeah.
Isn't that a weird feeling? Very noisy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then all the junk that falls out from under the seats,
Yeah.
and coin and garbage and toothpicks and well, who knows what else you had as a teenager in that car. Hey,
very lucky because me and my grandpa actually purchased a 4-point harness 2 weeks before that. So originally I just had the stock speed belt in there. So I think if I would not have had that harness in there, I would have been on the roof too.
You would have been part of it.
Yeah.
So did you ever feel scared in that car at all? I mean, that was probably the worst of the deals, but when you blow the tire and you have that, 20, 30 feet before you hit the wall, what's that like? I mean, you've never done it before, right?
Yeah, you're just like, oh man, here's another experience in the books. We can mark this off the checklist. Especially in my first sixer race, I don't know if anyone remembers the video from that. The very first sixer race, I was actually probably 7th going in the backstretch, and then the green machine, I remember that car.
Greg Witt.
Yeah,
Greg
87 car. Yeah,
he got turned, and then Morgan Malzahan, she actually went above me, and I was actually underneath the car for a couple seconds. So that was my very first race. Very weird experience.
So on the street, have you ever been in an accident?
No, I have not.
Have you ever got any tickets?
No, I have not.
Well, all right. So back to school now. How did you do in school? You were graduating, or you did?
I'm going to graduate this coming spring, hopefully.
What do you mean by that?
Who knows what can happen?
So you're eligible to run HSR next year then?
Yeah, I should be.
Yeah.
Just the champion
Zach.
can't come back.
Yeah.
Zach. I think.
Yep, that's me after I slid.
There you are.
I slid about 200 feet coming from almost the mid of in between turn 1 and 2, and I actually slid almost 200 feet on my top. So
the banking just kind of sends you right down to the dirt.
Yeah. First thing I saw when I opened my eyes was my friend in the 104. He actually was up here, him right there. He actually came up here, and I opened my eyes. I just saw him. We just made eye contact and kind of laughed.
After running your roof, you made eye contact?
Yeah, well, he just looked at me. He was wide-eyed, and I was just like, I don't know what happened.
It was so Call of Duty later on?
Yeah. It was an experience, definitely.
So that didn't scare you though, huh?
It was scary as I saw like me going sideways, and I was like, God, hold on. But it was okay in the end.
Did you ever lock your thumbs around the wheel, or did they ever tell you to put your thumbs on the outside?
Yeah, I always have them on the outside.
Who told you that in the beginning?
My grandpa.
Okay. Everybody should know that trick, because once you hit the wall, or even get hit by another car, essentially, that wheel just
Yeah, if you get hit, the
it
wheel
magnifies it.
Yeah.
spins the wheel for you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thumb will get
Yeah,
caught.
he told me just hands off the wheel. Basically, just enjoy the ride.
So-
Never done that.
Yeah. I think everybody has. And he has now. So you moved to a Roadrunner, hopefully. Do you have aspirations to run a late model someday? And what do you want to...
Oh, I would. Ever since I was a kid, I've been watching late models. I was like, I want to be in one of those. But
Okay.
biggest thing is budget, because I don't come from a silver spoon family. So
Gotcha.
they say. So like, I'll be lucky if I get into a Roadrunner, because I need to find a lot of sponsors if I'm going to be able to do that.
I think you had sponsors on the Sixers, though, didn't you?
Yeah,
Who were they? Did they...
I had really good sponsors. I had CMG Automotive out of Footville. He's always been our kind of like go-to technician for our cars, and a kind of a family friend. And he was amazing. He got me like discounts on parts. He gave me advice how to fix the car and everything. So he's definitely staying on. Racing at Rockford was another one. He actually came up to me, the announcer, and he came up to me. He was like, "Hey, I want to put my name on your car." And so he helped me out with that. We did a little business there. And then the third sponsor is actually a farmer that farms our land, because we have a little 6-acre field in the back of our yard, kind of, and we rent it out to these farmers called Johnson Farms. And one day they're just like, "Hey, we're seeing you're building a race car," because they always used to come to our land and they saw I was working on the race car.
Right.
And they're that way. They said, "We want to sponsor your race car." So they were probably the biggest help, because they gave me a good lump of money to fix the car after that huge wreck. So they helped out a lot.
So you're from Janesville,
I'm from Beloit.
or Boyd? You went to Boyd High?
I'm going to Janesville Parker.
Oh, well, maybe that's where I got the confusion.
Yeah,
Right?
it's a weird Beloit address, but Janesville School District.
Gotcha. What was the reaction from school? Did anybody pick it up there? I mean, I know we started in the summer,
Yeah,
but once you went back to school, you know, your name started getting out.
yeah. A lot of people thought it was like a joke. Like some people
Really?
thought it was a joke. Some people didn't know like I actually raced. They thought it was like demolition race.
Okay.
Like they thought I was just in demo derbies, so that's what they thought it was. But like when people actually found out that I was like actually racing, they actually thought it was kind of cool.
Anybody said, "Hey, help me out, get me in it," or
Actually, yeah, my friend Braden Noble, he was the driver of the 49 car. He actually came up to me. I got him into TOD with me last year, and then this year he was just like, "Hey, I want to get in a Sixers." So I gave him advice. I showed him some Sixers that he could buy, and we ended up racing together in the last year, in the last few races.
He got some racing history too, doesn't he?
that's
Yeah.
Tim Noble's
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
Tim
Nep-
Noble's. Yeah, I think it's
nephew
Yeah.
somehow through. Yeah.
He's got it in his blood.
Yeah, he's got it in his blood.
Why did he wreck it, or?
No,
No, he-
no, he hasn't wrecked yet.
Tim's a good dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tim Noble, good guy.
Yeah.
So, what would be your advice for somebody out there watching?
For just racing,
No, getting into the Sixers or
Uh,
high school. I mean,
just make sure you know what you're getting into, because it seems fun and easy from the track, but in the pits, it's a whole different
there's the
story. in
truth right
pits.
there.
Especially, but overall, I loved it. It was a great experience. Would do it again with the Rex over and over. Plus, I got to spend a lot of time with my grandfather, which I love doing too. So
And he was there with you every night.
every night,
Every night. Your parents did come, and
Yeah.
I guess I never saw them. I always saw Grandpa, and
yeah,
he always had a smile on his face,
Oh,
sitting
yeah.
back watching. And
oh yeah.
then he jumped in when he needed to calm
Yeah.
you down, or
I mean, he didn't smile a lot every time I wrecked, because he's like,
Well, that's-
"Oh, long week ahead," but yeah.
well, God bless him. Is he watching tonight? I hope.
I hope he is. Yeah.
If not, they can look it up. But yeah, and again, it takes a whole crew. There's not just the driver; it's everybody behind the scenes.
Yeah. But with the crew,
sponsors, the
yeah, but
crew helps.
yeah, but with the crew, it's just me and my grandpa. We're a 2-man crew.
Well, that's the neat part. The amount of, unfortunately, the wrecks that you went through. And I've seen the car leaving, like I said, it's like, okay, that's going to the yard of junk, and he shows back up with it. and it ran well. I mean, did any of those wrecks help it? Sometimes when we were talking earlier, you get the rear steer type tweak or a camber on the front, or
a little bit of wrecks, but we always tried to like put it back to like legal, like rule book stuff, because I was always scared of getting DQ'd by that, because the techs are rough sometimes. Some nights they tech everything, sometimes they don't tech at all, so you never know. So, but no wreck really like altered it that much, but the worst wreck was definitely that last HRSA. That's when the engine started leaving. When I couldn't go over that certain mile per hour. But.
Well, that's the neat thing about HSRA, and I kind of wanted to say, like, from a racetrack perspective, that was the most work that we have to do with the 6 or 8 cars. I mean, I had to suspend mothers, brothers, uncles,
Kids.
kind of like we call it soccer moms, but not in your case. But the rest of it is like, wow, and that's the excitement of the sport and the passion. I get it all.
Yeah.
But it was
There's passion at all levels.
right, and but when it's a kid and then you got the mom and then the whole family posse going on, that was a handful.
Yeah. I tried to stay out of trouble. Like, I didn't want to get in any trouble because, like, especially, like, racing, like, I love keeping my car clean. Like, everyone who probably knows me close knows I like a good-looking car, so I don't like to rub. But sometimes accidents happen, and I don't mean to do anything. But some people just take it in the wrong way.
But the high school racing was pretty clean. I mean, you guys pretty much all you knew. And then you had jumped into the 6er division, which is open to anybody, obviously.
Yeah.
Some nights we had, 30, 35 cars. I think we had 22 or 24 probably
24
we started for a feature. What's that like versus...
It depends on where you start. If you're in the like front rows, you're fine because like you don't have to worry about anyone like running over you.
Right.
But like if you're starting like the last half, you're in for a ride because you got to dodge, you got to weave, or you got to watch out for people spinning because I don't know. It's lucky if we can get through the first 2 laps without a yellow caution.
Well,
but there are a couple ones where we did the full, what was it, like 15 laps with no cautions.
when green to check or green,
Yeah, it was,
green to checkered.
that's when it was interesting because you're like, we're done, no yellow flags. You're just like, okay.
Is it best to lay back for the first couple of laps?
Yeah, I would say.
is that
a lot of people are eager just to like get on a gun, try to get first place, but you never win it in the first lap. You just gotta ride it out, see what the field's like. Maybe 3rd, 4th lap, then that's when you start picking off a car one by one.
How many times have you heard in the drivers' meeting, you can't win the thing on the first lap?
Every driver meeting. Every single one.
Look out over your hood. That's I think what happened.
Don't race in the mirror. I've heard that one a lot too.
Well, I think one of the 6er rules is we're going to get rid of mirrors. What do you think of that?
I mean, I liked using my mirror to see if I was clear on the one side and see if like anyone's going to run into me, but I think mirror racing is a little bit of a problem sometimes because if they see you in the mirror, they're going to weave around the track and not pay attention to what side of them. So,
but it's a good way to learn, though, without that mirror.
It's definitely a good way to learn.
Then you're going to have to look and hear. I mean, you hear more than you...
Oh, yeah, you definitely hear a lot.
More than you see or look in your mirror. Yeah. And you can...
Yeah, because if you race without a mirror, then and then once you get into a car with a mirror, you're like, oh, wow, it's added bonus. You don't even need it.
Yeah, that was one of the discussions. I wanted to see what your thought was because, it was a very frustrating year. I can only imagine. Sitting there watching it. I saw you in the beginning and when we did our registration. Young kid, got the right attitude, and then we're leading the points all summer. Then bang! That was just I can only imagine how you felt.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know. I was there with you, but I wasn't behind the wheel. We getting any questions for Tyler?
I got one.
Number. Why'd you pick your number?
Well, why'd you pick number 25? I guess that's a good question.
I've always loved 25. My birthday is actually September 25th, so 25 has always been basically my number, and I don't know.
You play high school sports?
Yes, I do.
What do you?
Right now, currently it's cross country, basketball, and track, but I might go back to football since we're going into like a spring weird thing where fall sports move to spring, sports and move to middle of summer-ish. but my main's track. But yeah, I played football, basketball.
And obviously had the 25.
Yeah,
Carried it.
when I could. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So how are they going to do sports in the summer?
Oh,
Yeah.
it's gonna be weird. So,
Well, let me ask this: are you back in school now? Well, not now, but will you be?
right now we're virtual. We started out online. No, we started out in person, and then
Okay.
we switched to an every other day where we were split into A and B groups, and like half the school went one day, half the school stayed home, and then we switched to online, and we're currently in online until the 18th, and they're having a board meeting on the 15th to see if we're going to be allowed to go back to school. Which
Okay.
I hope we do because I'm not a fan of online,
I can only imagine.
especially the procrastination. That's getting to me really bad.
All right, switching back to racing. So you've seen Cup, you've seen IndyCar. Who's your hero? Who's your favorite?
I've always loved Jeff Gordon. Like
Jeff Gordon.
Jeff Gordon.
All right.
When I was growing up, I always had his little NASCAR. But
Who's your favorite back there in the
Dale.
Dale?
Dale.
Dale Jarrett?
No.
Oh,
Dale.
Dale Earnhardt. Oh yes.
Do it for Dale.
So do you like Dale Jr.?
Oh yeah. Big.
See, now I can't stand him. I loved his dad. I just can't stand the kid. I don't know what it
Hey,
is.
look at the wall.
I know. It's the Budweiser Racing Dale Jr. I
Dale
know.
Jr.'s a beast.
I'm just saying out there.
yeah, but my uncle's favorite is Dick Trickle. He's always been a fan of him.
Oh, who's
Well,
not
yeah.
a fan of
That's true.
Who's not a
That
fan
is
of
true.
Dick Trickle? He's such a beast.
So here, David Russell calls in. Who's your favorite driver out there? Well, who do you cheer on when you watch races? Let's just say let's go to the late model division at Rockford.
DJ Smith.
DJ Smith is trying to weigh the vote back here, but you don't have to listen to that.
Yeah, Jerry Safford, my grandpa actually used to race with his, I think it's his dad. But yeah, they used to race, so I always talk to him in the pits, and I like seeing him, the number 7 late model, or also Max Kaler.
Right.
I always see to him because we're like the exact same age, and look at him to where I am. Like I always think like that could be me one day, and I just think it's cool someone my age actually making a dent in the late model series, especially the Big 8 and even super lates. So that's pretty
Big 8
impressive to me.
champion, and then
So props
super
to
late.
him. I know he puts in a lot of work to get that cars ready. So
Yes, yeah. I know he's applying to part of that Alan Kowicki. Can't think of the rest of that.
Driver development.
Driver development. Thank you. He's in the running for that for this year, so that'll be a
that's
big
good to hear.
bonus for him.
Yeah.
You had mentioned Jerry Stafford, and I don't know who helped him out mid-season, but all of a sudden,
Johnson. Yeah,
Look-
Brian.
Okay.
Brian.
Boozer helped him out, and then next thing we know, he's running up front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's leading the feature for
Yeah.
laps. It's like,
Yeah. Also,
happened?
Yeah. Also, the late model Hunter. I think he was a red 99, I
Yeah,
believe.
Hunter Dreyfus.
Dufton Drayton.
Yeah.
I
He
love that guy.
Yeah, he's such a two-heart guy. Like, I think I met him at a practice, or it was either one of the first feature races, and we instantly bonded. And we joke around at the track. We always park next to each other. And we just, we have fun.
He's like one of the coolest people at the racetrack.
I know he's a cool guy.
Yeah.
His dad too. I mean, the whole
Yeah.
The whole gang.
gang. Yep.
They have fun.
his
Like,
pit- his
they
pit-
have a lot of fun.
His pit crew cracks me up because they always come into the pits after the races drunk, and I was like, oh boy.
That doesn't happen after the races, does it?
I drove his car one night.
No way.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Let me drive his car when my car broke.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yo, he's like, oh yeah, go ahead. Okay. It was that easy?
So somebody brought up, and I remember this on the championship night. We brought out, I guess, the top 3,
Mhm.
and unfortunately, you ended up second. But you had presents or gifts for your other competitors. Tell me more about that.
So my mom had the idea to get them T-shirts from my school. So I was gonna give them T-shirts signed by me, so give them a little like mockery of like, here you can remember me when I'm famous, which that probably won't happen, but it was a little funny. Originally, it was gonna be princess tiaras and be like, here's a little trophy just in case you don't get the one tonight, but we settled on T-shirts because we feel like that'd be more practical, especially from my high school.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So another question comes in. Do you think the 6er races should be longer than the 15-lap features? Or is that enough?
If there were less cars, maybe. Like there's a couple times where, like I could definitely do more laps, but with those tires that we have, like the standard DOT tires, like I blew a tire even going through the 15 laps. Like
Right.
the brakes get so hot, like I can barely last the 15 laps. But if we had less cars, maybe like newer tires, like I feel like we could do like 20, maybe 25 pushing, but probably 16 to 20 is probably the best we can do.
What do you mean by different tire?
Or
a newer tire?
Like
I mean,
I know the Bandits use like I don't know if they have the same rules as us for tires, but like they're allowed racing rims, which I don't know if that makes that much of a difference for like tire like lasting. But like I know they use like expensive DOT tires that probably will not wear out. Yeah, camber. If we had a better camber rule, I feel like we'd be able to have
I
the
think
tires
we
last.
allow 1 inch.
Yeah, allow 1 inch.
I mean, the first year we did that, we had no camber.
Yeah,
And then
Big
2
tires
laps,
last
they were
easily. We did it on the Roadrunners for years. You can do it.
more than one?
I,
or
1 inch camber.
I think I
Yeah.
went through about 19 tires this year.
Yeah, no.
all right fronts?
Oh no, a mix throughout.
Well,
Mostly right fronts. Yeah.
Through all your wrecks and everything else.
Yeah, but probably right fronts. I probably went through 7. Just around this year. I think I had like 11 races. So
Do you put a shaved tire on?
no,
Or
I don't shave them.
you find a used one? The nice, the
Yeah.
perfect one?
I try to get
Okay.
with tread, but not a lot of tread. Like
Right.
people would be like, "Oh, that has like 5,000 miles left on it." I said, "Oh, it has 1 race on it." So
Perfect.
I take them.
All the ones are the best.
Yeah.
A little bit of advice.
So somebody threw in, would you ever want to race dirt?
Dirt racing, I've been to a couple of dirt races, like especially the one that was at Rockford. Me and my grandpa went to that one. That was cool to watch, the racing at dirt at Rockford. But dirt racing, I don't know, it takes a lot of skill to do. It's a lot of turning, it's a lot of knowing what you're doing. But I'd be up to have the experience. Yeah, I'd be up to have the experience to try it.
You need big motors. That's the
Oh yeah, big motors.
spin the hell out of those tires. That's for sure.
Sprint,
If you're
yeah,
on the front row, you're going to win.
yeah, pretty much. Sprint cars,
That's
yeah,
respectful.
yeah,
He's always saying that.
yeah. They flip easily too. I've seen.
That is true. So it's back to Rockford and dirt. We do not plan on doing dirt this year. Just to let everybody know.
Come on,
I know.
got to keep up with Bristol.
Get out.
Bristol's doing dirt. We got to do dirt.
Yeah, I know. But see, now Bristol's doing it like 2 weeks, and which we should have done too.
You sure I can't convince you?
What was that?
This is dirt.
Is that dirt?
It's
Oh my
dirt.
god!
Look how easy that was to set up.
Yeah, I remember seeing the late models on dirt. That was funny.
Now my heartburn is starting. You see all those seats where all that dirt lands on, and all what? Oh my
I can't see
god!
the seats. There's too many people in them.
Well, that's true.
Oh, yeah.
Everything landed in everybody's beer.
Oh yeah, the first night, me and my grandpa walked out back to our truck. It was just covered in dirt because it was the first night where all the dust came up and it was
Oh,
the
yeah.
wind. But we learned not to sit in the front row off of turn 2.
Good idea. Good idea.
Oh, my beer got destroyed. It was awesome.
Yeah, I gotta admit that was a historic event, but
Yeah.
and again, we still have the dirt. We know how to do it, but just obviously the world we're in just doesn't set it up correctly. So,
Before I retire, you got to do it again.
well, I said I still got the dirt, so
Before I retire, it's got to happen.
I'll let you do the cleanup too. Then
Just say you're retiring this year, make him do it this year.
I'll get to it the next chance I get.
old Ryan Finley, you know who he is. He runs the Illini Midgets. Ever think about running a midget car?
They always fascinated me. Like they're cool little contraptions. Like
Never driven one. Right?
I've never driven one. Like I feel like it'd be a lot like almost like a mix between dirt and go-karts. It's kind of what it looks like to me, but man, those engines, they seem fun. And just the cars seem fun alone. So yeah, I'd totally be up to running one.
You don't see much. All you see is your
Yeah.
front tires.
You just see
I
it.
drove one a couple of times, and boy, you get on the throttle, and next thing you know, it's like, oh my god, I hope I can stop, because there's just so much power.
It seems windy.
Very windy. I need cars. I love them. First practice they're out, I get up on the ramp, and you can smell the methanol.
Oh yeah, you can just you can just smell it. You're like,
Oh,
oh,
really?
look, Midgets are
Dang,
going.
you guys are on it tonight. Can you make it smell now? I don't smell your methanol.
I
Yeah.
can make it smell, but I don't like
Yeah,
that.
midgets always ran during HSRA nights, so I always knew when the midgets were going because we ran right after the midgets. So I said, "Oh," I just sniffed the air. I said, "Oh, got to get in my car." we're up right next, but yeah, it was cool.
It does smell good.
You know, the other one, would you like to race like at Madison or a big track?
Oh, I would love to race a big track. Like I've gone to Madison a lot, and it'd be cool to race big track. But like if I were to race Sixer, they make you run on a little tiny oval, so it.
Ring of Fire, I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, I think
up
it's
there.
what it's called. But yeah, to race a big track, I'd have to be in a late model, which, who knows, maybe 20 years.
No.
20 years.
Probably.
Set your goals higher than that.
Yeah, you got. By these responses, you got a lot of fans and I think supporters for you coming down the road here. This is exciting.
I like that. That's cool.
We're gonna use that.
Who's Georgia?
Georgina.
Oh, Georgina?
Georgina, I'm sorry.
She's my aunt on my dad's side. She always used to, I think she came to like a good handful of races. She's like my #1 supporter aunt.
She says, "Happy New Year, love the Rockford Speedway, great family entertainment, and family friendly." So, Georgina, thank you. And you're right. That's what we're all about. What else we got coming in here?
I know.
So, Tyler, what about like Bahama Brackets? You ever watch that event?
Oh, I've watched it. It's cool to see the variety of cars that come.
Isn't that a neat event?
Especially like the dirt cars that come. Like to just see them like lift up their tires on asphalt.
The Danny Dooch, the yellow,
Yep,
I think
the
it's
yellow one.
23,
That's the one I remember.
23 or
Everybody
30.
loves that. Everybody loves that. It's awesome.
Them 2 years ago, we had him come out. He didn't make the main, I believe, and he said, "Hey, let me go out and put on the show." And I figured, okay, you know, because he's out there with other cars, and it actually scares everybody because he throws that thing up, and we let him run about 6 laps, and everybody in the stand, everybody was watching him.
Yeah, I
mean,
remember seeing that live. Yeah.
it was just like, wow. Hopefully, he's
Yeah, here it is.
boy. These guys behind the booth over there are on top of it tonight.
Yeah.
Let's see the winning lottery numbers for tonight's lotto. Let's see if we can 007. It's on that screen over there.
08, 80.
There he is, Danny Dooch, the
81.
23. And it's loud. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
They're nice sounding
headers
cars.
are just. Rah.
Very nice sounding cars.
Yes, that is true. Boy, the list is growing. I can't tell all the numbers, but. All right, Tyler, you got a question on me.
What got your family to own a racetrack? Like,
Good question. Good
like
question.
what basically said, "Oh, we want to own and run a racetrack."
Ultimately, my father lived in Indianapolis, and he was in the insurance industry. In Indianapolis, well, they still are, but a capital of the insurance world. And near where they lived, or the gas station, somewhere near the house. I didn't know, this is before my time. But that owner of that place, his tow truck was at Indy 500 at the weekend. So my dad was there, and he said, "Hey, you want to come and help?" So he jumped on and did the safety crew or tow truck crew at Indy. I don't know even what year it was. And that's what really got my father into the game. I think he sat there in the infield and looked up at the stands and just, you know, have you ever been to Indy?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a bucket list deal. You know,
I've never been to a race there, but I've been by there. And
okay.
I've seen,
Oh, no,
I've
you
seen the
gotta-
track. I want to go to a race there, but
You need to put that on your list. That's But anyway, so that's where he got his start into it. Moved back to Illinois, and then my uncle was involved early in the days at Rockford, and then my dad got involved, and then he had a big family. Then we all worked there, and that was kind of the family farm. He grew up in a farm up in southern Wisconsin, so as my mother would tell you, it was our family farm. You know,
yeah.
8 kids. Cheap
There was a
labor.
There was a bunch of investors, right? And then your dad kind of bought them out or something like
Well,
that?
in the beginning of this racetrack, there was the builder guy, the guy with the dozer, the guy with the lumberyard for the grandstands. So they all got together and built the track. And then those guys kept getting bought out. And that's where my uncle got involved.
Okay.
Bought one of those guys out and said, hey, you come on over. And then it got down to Bill Ernest and my father were partners at the end. And then my father bought him out. I was in the 60, 66 or 7 in that range. So that's kind of where we...
Really
It's
cool
kinda unique.
story.
Yeah.
It's a cool story. Yeah.
I mean, this is the oldest, longest running thing, well, in Northern Illinois, but we're going on 74 years next year. I mean, that alone is
Oh, there's
just...
when I went under the car.
There you are,
Oh, that's what
25.
you were talking about earlier.
This was my very first feature race
Yeah.
under a car. I thought she was going through my windshield.
That
So
was the sixth. Oh, that's when Greg had his foot with the battery.
yeah.
Yep.
I thought she was going through my windshield.
Had his foot, oh, he thought his foot was on fire.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
battery acid.
Somehow, I still don't know how that
Yeah,
happened.
you're supposed to cover them, so I don't know.
Yeah. But there's a firewall, the battery's up,
Yeah.
you know, I mean...
I didn't understand it either.
Yeah, I don't know.
rumors are he peed his pants, but, you know, that hot liquid, but...
Yeah. I thought he was bad going to fight somebody. It always,
I think we all peed our pants, all three of us.
maybe he's Ricky Bobby.
Yeah. I just don't see how that happened. But anyway, that's...
That was the
Yeah.
end of the green machine, though.
He had a new one come out, didn't he?
Yeah,
it was fast.
that Malibu Max. Oh,
That was way
the Maxes were the up and coming thing this year.
But then they kind of petered out, though. I mean,
Yeah, as soon as the one
Car's way up there.
yeah, as soon as the 151 won that one feature, everyone went out and bought a Max.
Right.
Same with Justin Tyler. When Justin Tyler won that feature, everyone went out and bought a Monte Carlo, which is it's the odd thing about 6 Series. Like it's kind of like you have to buy the there's Justin right there. Nice looking car.
It is nice. Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically like it's not like any other racing where you buy a car and you build it off that specifications. It's
Right.
basically like every single car has a different engine.
well, and what, 2 years ago was the G6, the Pontiac
Yeah,
G6
with,
was the
Andrews, right?
Thomas Anderson,
Yeah,
the
yep,
slapstick, the
Yeah.
tranny, and
Yeah.
you know we get to that point and it's like, okay, we need to start banning G6s from the class, Malibu Maxes, and then you go, wait a minute,
It's not really the case, right? Yeah.
right? I mean, somebody's gonna find something else
Yeah.
or something new, and
Yeah.
I was kind of worried about the Max because the Malibu Max, they started showing up like in numbers.
Yeah, like there's
And I'm
fleets
thinking,
of them.
all right,
There's fleets of them.
If they start dominating, we're going to have to do something. But
What do they have for engines in them?
I think it's a 3.5,
It's a 3.5.
but they have a really good transmission, which is why.
It's a
and the,
tranny.
the wheelbase of the hatchback makes them really fast.
Oh, okay.
But mark my words, I'll never race a hatchback. So
why is that?
I don't know. I just do not like hatchbacks
They look ugly, or
a little bit, especially for a race car.
But
I agree.
If it's fast, you're going to race.
Nope, not a hatchback.
I mean,
my
I'll race a grocery getter if it's the fast thing on the racetrack.
Hey,
Come on
hey,
now.
the favorite race car I've ever seen, I was up at the Dells Raceway. It was the Bandit division, I believe. It was a VW Beetle. My favorite race car out there. Someone
They
was,
had one in Bahama Breakfast.
it was the same one.
Oh, was that the
Yeah.
same one? Yeah.
the girl drove it? I can't
Yeah.
remember her name, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But it actually didn't do too bad at the Dells. But yeah, I thought it was pretty fun because I had like a really low horsepower car. I only had a 3.1 liter. So I had like one of the slowest cars. And only pushing 140 horsepower next to like the Malibu
How much?
Maxes. 140.
140?
140.
Jesus,
And-
that's a lot.
No,
For a stock sixer?
no, like the Malibu Maxes, they're pushing 220. The
That's more my late model.
Monte Carlo's pushing 220 or probably 200. So I thought it was pretty cool when I could beat a G6 or something, especially like my small compact car, the one of the oldest cars out there, 98
What was that? A Pontiac
Grand Am.
Grand Am.
Yeah,
Man, those were.
it was the year before they made the switch to 3.4, which is what Dallas Conniff had. He dominated with that car.
Okay.
I have my
good car.
Yeah, it was a good
son's
car.
that is about 3.4.
Yeah,
I didn't
They're-
Well, I think
they're
we
quick.
learned after last year is tech for Sixers is going to get a lot more.
okay, that's fine. I
mean,
go by.
no, I'm just saying you,
I go by
but
the books.
Yeah, this guy.
It's
Rewriting the rule book.
but it's like, you know, this is supposed to be an entry level stock deal, stock everything, and I get it. Everybody goes in, you know, you put new bushings, that makes sense. I don't really want it to happen, but certainly helps the handling of the car and a lot of it.
Yeah.
But we were getting a little carried away as the season went along again. So
Yeah, but
In our off season, we talked about that.
As the seasons go along, it's going to be really carry rate. You know that.
Yeah,
Same
yeah.
with the Roadrunners. Happened for how many years?
Yep.
You know, it's just evolution of racing.
yeah,
Well, that's they want racing seats. No, we want roll bar. We want. Oh, it's safety. Well, we're not going that fast. We're no.
The Hornets,
We make
the
it.
Bandits. Remember the Hornets when they came out?
yeah.
Now they're Bandits.
Now they're international.
They're like 2
so
seconds faster than they were when they first came out. When Rockford, we first introduced the Hornets.
Yep.
I remember that. They're like 2 seconds faster now.
Jeez.
old Ryan Finley, he runs the Line Midget, but he's also a big enduro racer. And he says the 4 and the 6-cylinder enduros are the funnest.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And you ran one, and we plan on doing the same, not the same, but we're going to do the 6-cylinder only, and then the 4-cylinder. And then I was talking to my brother Chuck from lacrosse, and he's going to start running SUVs.
Oh man.
I'm going, really? I mean, he has minivans up there, and I'm thinking, all right, boy, now there's a whole other
Like
plethora
a
of.
separate thing? A separate
Yeah. Maybe an enduro, started out as an enduro,
Blazers, minivans.
Blazers.
The Aztecs would dominate.
I think.
I mean, but if you look at,
all day.
Oh, true.
do they even sell a car anymore? I mean, they're all SUVs or whatever you call them, bubbles. The little.
Minivans, SUV type deal.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting that
That would be awesome.
we got to look forward because that's our inventory. I mean, obviously that's where the 6-cylinder came from, the Hornet came from.
Yeah. People thought I was crazy going from 6-cylinder enduro, getting flipped, then jumping into a 4-cylinder the next day. People thought I was kind of stupid for that, but
Oh, you ran the
yeah,
4-cylinder.
I ran the
next day.
4-cylinder very next day.
That's not stupid.
How'd you finish it?
That's ambitious.
How'd you do that? How'd you do in this 4-cylinder enduro?
I
That was a
actually-
Goblin?
Yeah, it was a Goblin.
Goblin 250
Yeah,
at the end of the year.
It
Okay.
was I actually ran my TOD car, so it was a little banged up, kind of 8 inches shorter because I got hit pretty hard in the back at one of the TODs. But I was like, I'll run it. It's a little 5-speed Saturn.
Did
So
I hit you in that race?
everyone hit me.
I think you hit everybody.
Yeah,
I might have.
yeah, everyone hit everybody.
Going back to your old days.
But yeah,
I was taking aggression out of the roast.
See?
but
Taking aggression out. He said, at least he admitted it. He's honest,
But yeah, I did okay. Got a flat tire about before the second segment, changed that, and then I was doing pretty well until someone's bumper support. I'm pretty sure it was a bumper support, like one of those metal bumper supports, just fell off. It pierced my plastic gas tank, and I was forced to go off the track at like lap 185. So I made it more than halfway. So
we do that tech for the Goblin Enduro, the 6-cylinder, and you look, and I tell our guys, let's get a sledgehammer over there and test every one of these welds. Because, I mean, these bars fall, and we had that the last couple of years. We've had more than one fuel tank get ruptured. The neat part is when they light on fire, then you got this string of fire, but it's scary in hell. But so that's what we tried to, get these bars in, just do it on the radiator, or we got to quit doing it at all.
Yeah.
But I get it. There's nothing in the front end of these cars anymore. But
yeah, it was actually after one of the red flags, I was stopped, and I was just kind of waiting for the green flag. I'm pretty sure it was when that I don't know who, but someone flipped, I think, or the car started on fire. It was something like major.
we had both. We
Yeah,
had all
it was
of them.
major. So I was just kind of sitting there. All of a sudden, someone started screaming at me from the stands. I was like, "What's going on?" So I looked over at the stands. He said they were pointing down. I said, "Oh, do I have like a flat tire or something?" They said, "Your gas tank's like pouring out." And I said, "That's fine." So I didn't believe them. I thought they were just yelling at me. All of a sudden, the tech came over. There was a huge gas tank. I saw my gas gauge just start to fall. I said, "Oh boy, I better get to the pits before I can't drive anymore." So
You're gonna run out of gas pretty soon.
Yeah.
And then you'll be a target out there.
Oh.
Well, until the jam truck comes and save you. But
oh, that jam truck, they were brutal.
what do you mean?
Every time I
Jam truck was a beast.
I think during lap 30 during the 4-cylinder enduro, the Goblin, I was going down the front stretch. I floored it. All of a sudden, I lost all power. I think my battery got disconnected. And I said, "Shoot!" So I lost all power. Couldn't steer, couldn't brake. So I kind of just coasted. All of a sudden, the jam truck came behind me. I waved at him, "Don't go yet. I'm going to try to get my steering back." So all of a sudden, he pushed me straight into turn 1, turned my entire wheel this way. I said, So when we got back into the pits, me and my grandpa just pushed it back out, and then we got back out there. But, yeah, jam trucks, they're brutal, but never hit one. They'll hit back.
Danny knows about that.
He said they'll hit back.
Yeah, Dan.
They're not afraid to put a dent in that truck.
Yeah, Dan can't look to the right or left now anymore safely because
He's old.
he got hit pretty hard. But that was the fun part. I think he's like stuck on the backstretch for like 2 or 3 laps. So the whole field went around
Oh, that was 2 years
2 or
ago.
3 times, yeah, at least. And then all of a sudden, bam! It's like,
He got smoked.
yeah, that was. They're part of the show. It's always exciting.
I think I got video of it.
I think you were in the infield at that one.
Yeah, I think I just had like a static camera sitting there.
Well, Dan got smoked.
Dan Lignell brings back the slammers. I don't know if there's those cars any available
I
anymore.
started in the slammers.
You started in the slammers.
Yeah.
DJ Smith started in the. What kind of car was it?
Monte Carlo.
Monte Carlo.
Yeah.
I thought they were bigger. Or no, I mean, didn't they have like a wheelbase or?
No.
I thought they were the monster, the old hoopty cars.
No, it was just you couldn't do anything. It was a 6er Roadrunner. You could do no
Alright.
camber. Pretty much knocked the windows out.
No
That's it.
camera or 6er Roadrunner. All right.
Yeah, it was kind of that. It was so awesome.
Yeah, that's how it was when my grandpa raced. He raced like a old 50 Dodge, and that's basically all they did.
Yeah, I raced
Yeah.
against like some old Plymouths and like station wagons and all this crap. Oh, it was so fun.
They don't even make cars that big anymore. That's the problem. I mean,
I
they're
mean, yeah, that's the problem with Sixers. Is you hit the wall, it's cars are done.
pretty much. I mean, like I said earlier, you pulled miracles and put those things back together.
Yeah, I don't know how we did that, but we did it.
Did you change subframe? I mean, basically a couple of bolts, that whole motor or
No
tranny
frame.
drops out.
Yeah, luckily I came in luck with my grandpa used to own a frame and axle shop back. He retired in 2013. It used to be Beloit Frame and Axle.
Right down there by Brian.
Yeah, right down there. That was
My
his.
car's been there before.
Yeah, that's his
He
shop.
straightened my car out before.
Yep. But sadly, he got rid of his big frame machines, but he still had like a couple little like compressed things that we just used to push the frame back in place and weld it back up.
Porter power type
Yeah,
stuff.
porta power. So yeah, that's what it was.
Is the shop still around or is it closed?
He
Or
retired and they sold it to the dealership because we thought they were going to turn it into like a detail shop, but they leveled it, turned it into a parking lot.
no. Okay.
But no, my little racing shop is at his house. It's a little pull shed in the back of his house, and that's where we do a lot
I
of
want to
stuff.
say a lot of race cars over the years have been in your grandpa's shop.
Probably he used to straighten out rims and everything for
Okay.
racers. So
I mean, I've heard that name many a time, so
yeah, Jack and Warren Duff.
awesome. Well, anything else now? What do we got? Slammer Division, Crown Vics only. Yes, Mike Doris, that did come up before. I don't know if there's enough of them out there because we're fighting the,
Cletus.
well, that and the demo derby world. I mean, that's. I don't really want to get into those.
Yeah.
Sixers should race every Saturday. Lisa Diane.
Oh no.
You say no?
No, I basically did that with HSRA and Sixers because it alternated every weekend. Oh boy, if I had like a gap weekend, we could take 2 weeks to build the car because wreck
Right.
every weekend. But like having to fit in because we had to get the car done set Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, have it ready for practice by Thursday. So we had a 4-day gap to get the car ready.
To turn it
and
around,
doing
yeah.
it every single week, it's rough, especially Sixers.
Would that?
But
I think I added like an HSRA race
Yeah.
in, and
but
could you run an HSR race on a night and a Sixer? I had one of those scheduled. I think.
They had one, but then I think you took it off like last minute. But I was ready to do it because I would have been fine as long I probably would have played it safe and like one of the ones I probably would have played it safe in Sixer just for points, and then I would have gone hard in the HSRA. Like I love racing every week. Like don't get me wrong, but it'd be a big up for people that don't
Well,
know how
that's-
to race every week.
Well, and we wanted to give Sixers a lot of chances to race, and then the opportunity, or not the opportunity, the potential of the women want to race. There's a lot of women that race in Sixers, but now they want to race kind of like women on wheels. I don't want to go down that far down the road, but maybe we do a night with Sixers, a powder puff, where the girls get to race the girls. And I think what they were saying, they're intimidated by all the cars. They didn't, it's kind of like a high school kid going into a.
I was the only high school kid that raced Sixers like constantly.
Right.
I know a couple high school kids popped in and out, but I was really the only. I finished 11 in points out of probably the 70 cars we had.
Is that where you ended up? 11th?
Yeah, 11th.
It's not bad at all.
I wasn't 8th until that car kept bogging down and I lost a couple places, but
It's amazing how few positions change everything, isn't it?
yeah. It's
You
crazy.
learned a lot, didn't you?
I learned a lot. A lot.
So you're going to turn that into the next year and
Hopefully, yeah.
learn and move on.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But yeah.
So what else could you tell somebody sitting there watching us tonight? What's it take? Everybody thinks you need money. You need a bunch of money.
It doesn't take that much money. Like, I worked 2 or 3 part-time jobs. I worked at an ice arena. I picked up a job at KFC because the ice arena shut down, and then I worked at a small restaurant and some farm work. And yeah, so I didn't have that much cash. I just basically was going by paycheck to paycheck. But it doesn't take that much if you know what to get. You don't buy the top of the brand, name brand stuff. You just buy what you need. You buy what works, and then just put it together from there. My entire paint job was rattle can. It used to be a green car, so I rattle canned it black. I hand painted all the flames on there. The only thing I had was the vinyl painted off by one of the Frishes. And that's basically it.
Interesting. So since we're in DJ shop, a couple of guys want to know, DJ, we used to race Roadrunners Wednesday and Saturday nights. How many times in a season did a Roadrunners race? Was it about 38?
34 to 36-ish. Yeah. It was a lot.
How hard was it to race? He says 34 to 36. How hard was it to do that last?
That is the sole reason I stopped Slammers, is because we got to race 2 times a week.
That would be
For
fun.
me,
That'd
it
be
was the best thing in the world.
DJ loved it.
That'd be fun.
I get to race 2 times a week.
Are we picking his audio up? Okay.
Ish.
Ish.
More
All
than
right.
It was
More than no than yes.
Okay.
for me, it was the best thing. I loved it. A lot of people didn't love it because
So DJ says he loved racing 30, 40 times a year, twice a week. He'd run 3 times a week, I
I
guess.
run freaking 7 times a week.
Yeah, another thing I can say is if you ever get the chance to win a race, I remember my first HSR race win, I was almost in tears on the last lap because oh my gosh, a
There I
dream
am.
come true because I actually am gonna win a race. So I was
You only get your first win once, right?
yeah, I know, that was what a night to do it on, my first HSRA race. And
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
that interview I was shaking the whole time because I didn't know what to say. I was oh, I'm in front of people. I never talk in front of people.
Well, now you're talking to a bunch of people.
Yeah, I know. It's better if you don't see the people. You just gotta,
Okay.
Oh, they're there though.
yeah.
Picture them in there everywhere. You pervert.
You guys are the only 3 ones I can picture.
Probably not the best.
So Trey Dotson wants to win his Rockford getting repaved. And here's the side boat. Oh, 2028. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know.
Now you have time.
I was talking to Todd Thielen at Slinger, and he would, the same question comes to him all the time. Why don't you pave Slinger? Maybe you pave Slinger. And he goes, the cars are going too fast here right now as it is. We pave this thing. They won't even stay on the ground. And I'm same deal at Rockford. I mean, the cost to do that would have to grind all what we got down, or leave what we got and raise all the walls. So there's, you can't just lay over what you have because the walls will be that much shorter.
It might not stick.
And you'd get the same cracks so tearing it all off. And back when they paved that in the beginning, and there's some neat old photos, the old dozer on the bottom, and it's got an I-beam attached to the paver to keep it level. Because you imagine a paver, and then even like Daytona and these big tracks, you can't back a dump truck up on a 22-degree bank and dump it. Well, you would. You'd dump it over, but you wouldn't dump the load. So the cost and just going that much faster. And the character of Rockford, you got the hump in turn 3.
Why don't they just repaint the Mona Lisa?
Paint the Mona Lisa. That's true. I mean,
Isn't that what makes Rockford Rockford?
Can't fix perfection.
yeah. I mean, it's
It's not perfect, but it's Rockford perfect.
I think it's.
Everybody knows Rockford is the way it is now.
Yeah.
Why change it?
Yeah, especially to relearn the track. That'd be tough.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the
the
toughest track around for a reason.
Yeah.
Keep it that way.
I gotta.
Well, as they say, you know, if you can race Rockford, you can pretty much race anywhere.
Especially in six. If
If you race it good, I mean,
Yeah.
successfully.
just like you,
Exactly what they
yeah,
say.
just
Everybody.
just like you said, if you can race sixers, you can race through anything.
Right? Well, yeah, you've learned.
Yeah. I got a chance to go up to Toma too. Well, I think it was like my third race in. I went up with Austin Fowler and Bierman, Sean Morman, and I got to race there. And I learned. I didn't know that bottom groove was fast groove, because you know I'm used to Rockford where any groove
Rockford's
is
the only.
We're the
Yeah.
only hiker.
Only-
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. So I went high groove. All of a sudden, people were just passing me. Then I went low groove, and then I didn't know that there was a 3-inch difference between old track and new track. And yeah, my tires didn't like that either. So that was an interesting experience. But
Where'd you finish, or how'd you end up?
heat I placed 5th, and then the feature I think I placed like probably back 5. But I wasn't really in there for like trying to
You were
win. I was
just
just experience
Learning.
wheel time. But that was a fun track to go to.
So what's tracks on your bucket list? I mean, you
I-
got Bristol or Daytona or Indy, or one of them's got to be your favorite, or you want a bucket list.
Oh, it's a long bucket list. I definitely want to go Daytona.
I would imagine.
Bristol. I want to go to the dirt. Bristol. Like I hope I can plan a trip down there. Just Indiana, definitely.
Like Winchester,
Well, yeah, definitely Winchester.
IRP, or whatever it's Lucas Oil, I guess.
Talladega. I want to go to.
To race or walk?
I was just gonna
Watch.
say that.
Oh, I will not be racing in any of those.
Okay.
Don't sell yourself short. You never know.
In Talladega or Daytona or Indy, best if you're in the stands, and you're not supposed to cross that little white line and get up to the fence when the cars are coming by. That'll pay for the trip.
Yeah.
I mean, that's intense. I mean, they really don't want to like you doing it, obviously, but
TV doesn't do it justice.
no. And the wind, you know, just coming by you. So, all right, now we're getting into track speed up. Well, everything's beat up anymore. David Russell doesn't like to hump in 3 and 4. Well,
I'll get over it. Literally.
that's
get
how you
over
set the
it.
car, isn't it? Going in.
It gives it character. Like you know what turn you're in, so you just yep 3.
Yeah. You're on the bottom. All right. Anything else we got coming in? What other rumors we got? What's good? Let's see.
Talk banquet.
Oh, yeah, the banquet.
Soon
We
as
did
it's
have
close
to-
the new banquet date. So,
Currently, it's now Saturday, February 27th, I believe. Same program. Kyle's all set up with some awesome video productions, or he will be. At least he said he would when we first talked about it. I wanted to do it our original date, but a lot of people, I guess, aren't ready for that yet. So we were able to, unfortunately, the Forest Hills Lodge facility where we hold the banquet, we've lost our annual cat show, we lost our annual antique show, so we are moving our banquet to formerly the Northern Illinois Antique Dealers Weekend. So that's why there's been kind of a delay trying to get them to confirm their cancellation in the cancel culture we live in. So, but we're planning on that. It'll be a video, or no, how are we going to do that? We're not going to mail out invites. It's all going to be through our Facebook or our webpage once we get the info on that deal. So, get through the holidays here. And did you have a good holiday? What'd you do? I mean, did you go
Just
family, or
just family.
you didn't have a big gathering? And
No.
I'm not going to catch COVID tonight.
you better wear a mask.
Yeah, at our grandparents' house we wore masks there
Oh, you did?
for Christmas. Yeah.
Well, they're elderly, obviously, and that makes
Yeah.
sense.
We had a drive-up Christmas at my grandma's. Drove up. Got our,
Drive up Christmas.
Yeah, got our cheesecake and stuff, and drove off.
Yeah, it was a weird.
It's a weird.
Yeah, that's how.
It was
It's
a weird year.
depressing.
Yeah, that's how Thanksgiving was. We all dropped off food at our grandparents, and then we kind of had like a potluck. Like we took a little bit of each dish, and then we went back to our houses and then ate separately at our houses. So the new
Doesn't it suck? It sucks.
it
right?
sucks.
It sucks.
The New Year's we just kind of stayed home. It was my parents' anniversary because they got married on the 31st. So we kind of
Awesome.
celebrated their anniversary. Got some takeout from Jersey's. Love that place.
I went to Jersey's last night.
Hey, nice. We got a steak dinner. What'd you get?
Yeah, ribeye.
Oh, hey, same. It's a way
10
to.
ounce ribeye. It was pretty damn good
Yeah.
too.
So, any other family members? You got a brother, sister?
I
or-
got two sisters. I have an older sister named Rebecca. She just turned 21 in November. And then I have a younger sister named Sydney. She's 15, turning 16 in February.
They want to be race car drivers. They have
Um,
nothing to do with it.
They want to do the TOD, but they bought a $100 Cavalier. It's been sitting in the exact same place for over 5 months.
Oh? Well, it is winter out. You
it's-
know.
Time to get it going.
It's all talk. I don't know if they're going to do much with it.
Well, you put them on the line tonight, right? That's
Yeah.
why I brought it up.
It's a challenge.
There you go.
Just call them out right
Yeah, I'm calling you guys out.
Well, all right. We have, well, any other questions real quick? But it's that time of the night. Goes by fast, doesn't it?
It does.
Were you scared coming in?
A little bit, yeah.
Feel okay now?
Yeah, I feel fine.
All right. See, we don't hurt. Hey, we appreciate everybody tuning in. Kyle, we doing this next week? What's the plan? Or 2 weeks? Or every week till the season starts? Join us on Sunday night. This Sunday night, John Magnuson Jr. is going to hold Racing at Rockford
On his page.
which is Racing at Rockford. I think it's 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, yep.
6 o'clock Sunday. I'll be on that show, and then he's got a bunch of racers and everybody excited about that. So racing season's around the corner, folks. This is exciting. I'm glad we got the new year over. Unfortunately, we had snow. I thought we were going to be real lucky. I mean, December's been great until the last couple of days,
All
but
hell broke loose.
yeah. But you know, that means there's only 60 days until March, so we're a third of the way through winter. Not a bad deal. I'll take that anytime. Hey, on behalf of Misfit TV, thanks them for putting this together. DJ Smith letting us use his shop. Tonight's guest, Tyler Vincetich.
Nope.
Tish.
Vincetich.
Vincetich. The hardest word to say tonight. Hey, I'm David Deary. Thanks for watching. We'll see y'all next week on Racing at Rockford or Outside the Fence. Got a lot going on this week. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night.
All right, see you guys.
All right, great job.